Yeah, for those of you who know what this is, that means that title definitely brought you here, and you are probably a an individual who understands this. And if you understand this, let's just keep it between us. Let's keep it a secret. Let's not let everybody else find out. Uh, in the last video I posted, I was expressing how I felt in the aftermath of a relationship and when it finally hit me. And within that video, I had another realization that I was like, and it's quite insane. I have only dated Albanian women, and only Albanians are gonna understand how insane that sounds, right? Nobody from any other culture, unless you're Balkan or maybe Arabs, would understand this. Um, maybe other people can understand it too, but it's like, yeah, only Albanians are really gonna understand how wild that statement is. Like the fact that I've only interacted and dated with Albanian women is quite crazy, right? Like, and it's not even on no like player or a womanizer tip, like just dead, like because and I live here. I got no one else to talk to. I have no other culture for real to interact with, or at least I don't find myself in the scenarios when I'm meeting people from other cultures that I can actually, or not that I can actually connect with, but that I just do connect with. Like it just doesn't happen in the past 8 years that I've lived here, right? I'm 26 years old, right? And I moved here when I was like 19. I did the math on that one. 19 turning 20. Yeah, I turned 27 this year. Yeah. I'm 26 years old and I've only dated Albanian women, bro. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's a very interesting thing to think about. Like, I don't want. I've been around other women, right? I've been around women of many different cultures: Africans, Asians, Hispanic, American, British. Like, I've been around all kinds of different cultures when it comes to like friendships and professional relationships. When it comes to dating, though, and relationships, I've been only around Albanians, which I think is kind of bad on my part because it's like I don't have that exposure to other cultures or what could actually be different, or like I'm actually starting to be I'm a little bit worried that what I've normalized in dating is only cultural normalizations when it comes to women. That worries me a bit, to be very honest, because it's like, what if the normalities that I dealt with, like, what if the experiences that I've had with Albanian women, what if their other women don't act like that, right? And it's because I see certain things online about how Albanian women move and how they can, like, if you've dated an Albanian woman, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're an Albanian woman, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're Albanian, you know what I'm talking about. If you're Balkan, you can get an idea as well. But it's like, how are the things is it normal, right? Like, can what I can expect from an Albanian woman, could I expect from another woman? Have I normalized certain behavior that's just specific to Albanians, and has that affected me in a negative way or a positive way, or what? How has it affected me? Um, I think it's insane though. Like I really just had that realization. Like the only women that I have dated have been Albanians, and we're talking long term relationships too. Like not just like casually going out and stuff like that. I'm talking about like I was in long term 2 3 year relationships too, bro. Like it's insane to me, yo. And they could be from different places. They could have grown up or lived in another place, but every Albanian knows, everybody who knows that Albanians are super nationalistic and patriotic. So no matter what part of the world you grow up in, you're gonna be Albanian. Albanian. Like you might share a couple of things from the culture you come from, but you're still gonna have those Albanian traits, right? It's crazy, yo. Like it's like has that. I guess this is what I've learned, right? Let me talk about what I've actually learned in my experience with Albanian women. Um, if you find a real one, Albanian women are some of the most loyal women you could ever connect with. Um, extremely loyal, extremely headstrong. Um, most of them are very family oriented, and yeah, all in all, they're pretty caring, hospitable, and good people. That's if you meet. I almost want to say that's the average Albanian woman, right? That's what my experience has been, and I don't even want to say bad or good because it's like every like there are women that I've met that have done me bogus. There are women that I've met that I've done bogus, but we're both at different stages in our life, so that woman could be completely different. I know I'm completely different now. I've grown, so it's just that like just the base level of characteristics that come from the culture are always gonna be good, right? They're always gonna be respectable. The more traditional as well. I think some of the drawbacks though when it comes to cultural understanding of certain things is quick advice. If you're black and you're dating an Albanian, it's gonna be very hard. It's not gonna be very hard, but there's always gonna be she's never gonna understand blackness 100%. She's never gonna understand what that actually is and the effect that it has and and how much you being black actually dictates certain things about your life and the decisions that you make and certain things that can happen. That's never going to be fully understood. Just like if you're from another culture or if you're black and you're dating an Albanian woman, it's going to be really hard for you to actually fully understand what she'd be giving up or what her parents may think or that experience is going to be extremely hard for you to actually grasp as well. um I've gone through that experience more than I'd like to account, to be really honest. I really dislike it a lot. But that's just the reality of the situation. That's something you got to know going into a relationship like that, that there's just going to be that divide that's going to be really hard to manage and navigate through. I think my mistakes in the past was always just because I didn't communicate enough about it, or maybe we did, but it just wasn't. It's just something that we got to learn to live with and stuff like that. Pretty unfair. I don't know. I haven't found a solution to that just yet, to be really honest. Um, it's complicated, bro. Like I vividly remember thinking a lot over the past 5 years. Like I understand why like there's that song that Dave put out, Survivor's Guilt. And he said rum and Red Bull, it's a culture clash. I was like, all right, I get it because I had a bad experience with some Albanian women before, but then it wasn't until I actually jumped into like more serious relationships when I actually understood it. It wasn't it wasn't cultural clash in the sense of like, oh, I hate you, you hate me. It's like culture clash in the sense of I don't understand that, and you don't understand this, and that's a clash. And it's not. It's something so deep rooted into you. It's pieces of the culture that are there from the beginning, right? My skin, black culture, black skin is there from the beginning. Albanian patriotism is there from the beginning. Like no Albanian is born into a family that doesn't have nationalistic or patriotic tendencies. It's their country. They're proud of it. It's my skin. I got it. Like I have it. Like you get like these are the massive divides that I've noticed that I'm like, all right, that doesn't change. And I've noticed a lot. I've seen a lot of Albanian girls dating black guys on the internet, and I also noticed this massive trend of like Albanians marrying from other cultures because they were a closed off nation, so they didn't really marry other cultures too much. Um, but I really think the most difficult one is Albanians and black people. You can see an Albanian and an Arab, an Albanian and an American, an Albanian and a European and a German. You can see an Albanian and an Asian. But when you jump into that Albanian and black pond, bro, I've had so many conversations about this with so many multicultural relationships. It is different, bro. There's just an added level that takes both of you to a deeper level of understanding. And that's why no matter how the relationship ends, it's always going to leave you two with a certain kind of bond or connection that you had to face something like that as two people as a unit, and it's not the easiest thing. So that thing in itself actually brings you, it either brings you closer or drives you farther away apart, from what I've understood, from what I've learned. um but yeah, I also think it's the environment because I live smack dab in Shipri, in the country. I live directly in the joint, uh in the shot. I live right there. It's different for me because I don't really get that break from mentality. I don't get the break from people thinking certain things. It always exists everywhere. So, yeah, it makes it really difficult to actually operate here because, like, it's like you think people stare at interracial relationships. Wait till you go to a country where interracial relationships don't really exist like that. The staring is a lot more involved. The words that you hear from people are a lot more harsher. Um, and this is the biggest example of how I've understood certain cultures use shame, how certain cultures use shame to control a narrative or to control or to keep their culture alive in a sense, because 100% if you have an interracial or intercultural relationship, the child is not going to go one side or the other. It's going to be a mix of both or none, or maybe an uneven majority versus minority. Maybe it's possible too as well. But if you're fair with your partner, it's probably going to be a mix of both. Um, but it's weird. Maybe like I don't want to get turned off to relationship. I keep thinking that like I feel like I'm turned off to relationships because I keep running into the same kind of issue. And this is not in the sense of like saying that I'm blaming all my relationships failing on the other person. I know what my issues are. I know what my repetitive patterns are. I know what I'm working on. I know the things that were my fault. That's very clear for me to see. Like it's pretty evident. But it's still not negating the fact that there are other factors at work in that kind of relationship that always exist and in every situation I've been in, every single time. Like, I wasn't dating this girl, but it's something that I'll never forget, bro. Like, it bothers me to this day. I remember the first time I kind of connected with a girl. She was holding my arm in the center of the city. We were walking in Tirana. And she heard people whispering. This was before I understood, This was before I understood Albanian enough to really hear what people were saying. But I heard whispers. And of course, like wide-eyed and silly me, I'm sitting there like, I'm happy, I'm chilling, I'm cool. And then this girl was holding my hand and she just went like this. I'm thinking, yo, what I do, bro? What did I do? And it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with what people were saying. And for the longest time, I'm like, gee, I'm black. That's why that happened. But then I had to realize, I'm like, no, no, no. Actually, that wasn't on me. It wasn't even on her fully. It was on her in the sense of like, um, she just jumped into something she wasn't prepared for or didn't necessarily think about and then found something that stung a little bit. I don't know if she ever learned from it or if she ever understood more of what that was. Uh, but I guess that was just a learning moment for her. But yo, it messed me up for a while because I was like, yo, that was one of my first experiences dating a person, or not. I don't like saying dating because I didn't date that girl, but um, that was one of my first experiences, you know, having a romantic interest in somebody. So for that to be my first experience having a romantic interest in somebody, and all that I've understood about dating is that idea that there's got to be secrets involved, that you can't go over there because it's like this, or you can't do this, or she's never going to understand this, or all of this other stuff, or I'm never going to understand that. I don't feel happy with that actually. And that's not to say like, oh, I need to experience new cultures or anything like that. But I do need to talk. I think I need to talk to more people who have been in situations like this, or talk to other women of other cultures to understand how things work. Because it's not just a mindset thing. Culture has a lot to do with how people think. And I know mainly in the Balkans it's gonna be like that for sure. That's like an obvious thing. In Europe, maybe Western Europe, it's a little bit different. But here, it's weird that that was my first experience. Up until now, I've been experiencing the same things for the past 8 years. 8 years, bro. Like these are the massive differences that I've normalized mentally. That I'm like, all right, if I want to talk to a girl, I gotta keep it low key. If I want to talk to the girl, I have to understand that I'm putting her in a position to make the most difficult choice she might ever make in life, um, or at least up so far. If I'm gonna talk to a girl, I kind of have to accept certain levels of ignorance if I want to make it work. If she would want to have to deal with me, she would have to understand a different level of how things operate from my side. It's weird. Just as much of the understanding that you could have is just as much of the amount of disagreement that you could have as well. And it's very, as the British people say, it's very jarring. You know, it's very jarring. It's jarring, man. I'm sorry, that's my British accent. I'm trying to make it a little bit lighthearted. I feel like it's a little depressed. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, man. It feels very weird to say that, like, and to have that realization. I literally just made it. I was thinking about that through the entire time I was speaking. I was like, I really have only dated Albanian women. My experience with women has only been with Albanian women. My worst and best experiences have been with Albanian women. This doesn't feel right as a black guy, as a Zimbabwean guy, as as much. How do I explain this? As much of a as culturally seasoned as I am as an individual, and as complex as I like to believe that my identity is, it doesn't feel like it makes sense for me to have only had connections and communications with Albanian women. It's like such a constant, and it's like maybe I'm getting turned off to the things just because it's just a culture that just doesn't connect with me, and I can't blame it on the culture always. Like I said, there's human emotions involved. There's psychological like factors, but yeah, it's very weird. How are you supposed to? I just think it's very hard to navigate that, man. All the relationships that I know, the intercultural relationships that I know are just, they're very complex. Like you see it from a distance, but I'm already always knowing like, yeah, I know, I see that, and it's so similar, man. It's so similar. Um, you could talk to any Albanian who's dated a black girl if they're married. If you talk about your story with them, it's gonna be very similar. It's always gonna be similar. It's always gonna be similar. It's always gonna be similar. Obviously, the nitty gritty is gonna be different, but it really is a culture clash. And um, there's two routes when it comes to culture, right? The whole point of cultural exchange is to break ideas, right? I have grown up on these ideas, morals, and values. Are they correct? Do they stand against truth? And if they stand against truth, I should be able to walk on the entire earth without finding an argument, right? Just like somebody would say, honesty is a very good trait to have. You can't go anywhere on earth where people would say, nah, it's not good to be honest. Most people would agree it's good to be honest, it's good to be hospitable, it's good to be nice. Um, a lot of people wouldn't agree that it's good to be rude though, but there's a certain level of a culture that can be headstrong, right? Certain cultures are super headstrong, certain cultures are super um I don't want to say flamboyant, but just calmer. And who's right between the two, right? That's when the conversations are open. That's when they're started to understand, okay, when we find out it's not even who's right or wrong, but who has the right mix, right? What is the right mix of this? And then we exchange that. We come to an agreement like, yeah, it's probably better that I have a little bit more aggression or I have a little bit less aggression. This is probably a healthy balance. Let's move forward, right? And then you move forward, and that's where you create a third culture. That's when a new culture is created, right? That's something different. That's not the same that was there before because it's new values and new ideas are added to it. So whenever two cultures come together, that's what's supposed to happen. That's it either happens like that, they call it a synergy. They come together and they mesh perfectly. It's like yin and yang, you have like a cycle, and it's like that orb that's just like spinning around. Imagine that orb in my hand that's like spinning around, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know if you've seen that guy on Instagram that's walking backwards, that's always like this. But yeah, that it's just supposed to be so smooth that it just meshes with together, right? And then if it doesn't, you have a culture clash, you have a clash. And what I learned was it's either synergy or conflict. You either can mesh perfectly and agree on this and it's good. And not to say that it's perfect, but it's just you agree and this is something that's fluid. And or you run into a brick wall and it's like this. You're either going like this or you're going like this. And because I've talked to so many interracial couples that are Albanian, it's the same brick wall that keeps getting run into. It's the same brick walls that keep getting run into. And I'm thinking, yo, so then I understand exactly what this guy's talking about. Like it's a clash. Now, are you willing to sit there and always deal with that clash or not? Yeah, bro. Yeah. I don't know. I hope more interracial couples find this. I'm dead searching for solutions to this, bro. I didn't see too many relationships fail. I didn't been in too many situations that I'd rather not repeat. I'm trying to learn. I'm genuinely trying to take in a lot of information about this. So if you are an interracial couple, hit me up in the comment section below. Let's start a little dialogue. You feel me?